and you approach someone and you tell them you're from Dominica, they be like, "Yeah, I know Dominica, gripping, gripping, gripping."
Think they really lose their originality. I think the inspiration is there. I feel like the way they lose their originality is when they attempt to like be exactly like doing the exact same things, because everyone's gonna make music about the things that they've experienced. But you do have some people who will go out of their way to like make a song about like scamming, and they never scammed before. Like, don't
Yeah,
do that.
exactly.
You're lying.
Yeah,
So I think there's that too, but I don't think they entirely lose their originality, because sometimes they really are just talking about their stuff. And another major thing that I really love, I know we're like kind of generalizing the topic now, but another thing I really love about some Dominican artists is that the ones who are not doing Boyan related music are doing just like mm, maybe it's a dance hall kind of vibe, but there's so many different kinds of artists in Dominica too that people don't know about. Um, for instance, Brandon King, he's my cousin, and he does music too, and he has like he raps, but he can sing. There's a lot of different. Is there's so much more to it, and I feel like the Dominica is known for Boyan, which is good because you have like your signature thing, but I feel like the push should be to push the artists that are doing the different stuff, because you I don't know. I feel like the exposure is exposure regardless, but then you have people like Suki, and then you have people like my cousin who's making music that you could hear on the radio, and it's like, okay, Suki's music is going to play at a dance, but the reality of it is somebody is someone really going to come and like sign him to a label, off of like, and it's possible, it could happen, but I think that it's like you want to push. I feel like we could push both, but I think because people are just the way they are and they like the nonsense, they're just gonna, lean more towards that kind of crazier stuff. It's not crazy because like I've listened to it and I think it's funny and I'll, dance to it too. But it's not. I don't know. I feel like there's so much more talent in Dominica to really push out there, rather than pushing the things that kind of make the music look like a joke thing, when you really have people who are like really, really doing stuff.
I completely get what you're saying because it's like an image basically, and that like you go and you approach someone and you tell them you're from Dominica, they be like, "Yeah, I know Dominica, gripping, gripping, gripping." You get what I'm saying? It's like we just get like this image, and it's like it's not something. I mean, like everybody would be proud of, to like that's what your country is known for. Like we know we have waterfalls, we know we have this, we know we have that. That's the type of music we are known for. And like you said, like your cousin having good music. Like yeah, there are a lot of people having music like Saya, Desla. There are different people, but the only issue I have the only issue I have, and I can attest that I do it myself in my own music because I have like an artist. I do my like I'm like a YouTuber artist kind of type thing, but my artist name is Jireh. And the thing I realize we do in our originality is we try to sound like something we're not. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm gonna tell you the truth, right? Dominica, I'm not talking about the broken, what is the word there? Although we can do that, right? Especially on Afro beats or whatever. But like it's like we have a nice accent. Like it's like if we don't like let's just say you're not trying to yank and you stay in a place like America or somewhere for a while and you like or you work in like a call center and you're not trying to yank but you're just like talking proper English. Bro, you know how good you can sound as a Dominican? Like look at me right now. I'm not even trying to sound American or anything. Like this is how we sound. And it's like when we make music and stuff like that. Let's just say we could make dancehall. It's like we trying to sound like Movado or Popcan or something like that. And I just feel like deep down, like our accent can create our own type of dancehall. Because if you look, like
Right.
Trinidad developed their own dancehall. There were artists before that used to like try to like song the Jamaican. There was even like a time when Tommy Lee was like songing, and then after it's like he caught himself and started singing like like where he's from, and this happens like a lot. And right now we have people like Swanee that has his own style. Imagine a Dominican artist with their own style. Like shout out to Colton T one time. He is an artist that could be far, but I feel like he can do so much more. I feel like he can develop a Dominican style of the dancehall that he produced. I feel like if we just like work on the style that we produce, that it will bring some originality to it. So just imagine somebody in Jamaica trying to song the Dominican on a dancehall beat. Just imagine someone in Trinidad trying to song Dominican on a dancehall beat. Imagine somebody in America because they heard of a dancehall in Dominica and how we sung, trying to talk like a Dominican in America. You get what I'm saying? Instead of coming and say wagwan. We know is what is the word. We find a way to put it into the lyrics. We find a way to, and then make it sound like something original. Yeah, that's what I feel.
I get that. I see what you're saying too. And there's like you I get that. There's an artist in Dominica named Uzi who I feel like he has that originality too with his blow cuz I don't think he tries to sound like anything else but being from Dominica, but he's was just doing his thing. And I really like his music because of that reason. He's very much original, but you can hear the Dominican accent. It's not like he's trying to hide it. It's Dominica, but it's dancehall at the same time. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense what you're saying. I think I get the fact that some people do try to, like, when they first get into it, they're trying to mimic a sound from a different place, which is I feel like that's normal. That can normally happen.
It is normal. It is normal. It is normal.
Thing,
But
but after,
just like drill, there's New York drill, there's Chicago drill, there is London, UK drill. It just it just it singles you out. It makes you stand out. It's like let's just say I did that video on Omega. Some people bash me for I was making people say things they're not supposed to be saying. But the whole point is when I did that, because salop was like a word that St. Lucians use a lot of people was in the comment section like I'm from St. Lucia. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, let's just say a Dominican artist comes out with a nice dancehall song. Like everybody in America or whoever, like if that person end up blowing up, they're gonna think that person from Jamaica. You get what I'm saying? It's like they're not gonna be like, that's a Dominican dancehall artist. You get what I'm saying? It just
exactly.
it sounds like it's from Jamaica. You get what I'm saying? So that's just what I'm sorry for like jumping us a little bit off the topic, but
But it's all music, and it all makes sense. Like such a pet peeve. For example, for my mother, like when people ask her if she's Jamaican, she gets so angry because people don't know. Like, first of all, anytime I tell anyone that my family's Dominican, they're like, "Oh, do you speak Spanish?" And I'm like, "Please don't ask me that."
DR DR.
Oh, and it's so crazy. So I think, with the importance of being original in the music for Dominica is it's really a big deal because of the fact that people don't even know Dominica exists. I had to
Yeah.
convince a grade that Dominica was a real place, and I Googled it for him and he didn't believe me still. So I think that it's super important to try to keep traditions going, but I feel like you can venture off still, but keep the Dominican accents in the music.
Right.
And switch things up with the beats. One thing for me with the Boyon beats, I feel like they're all the same for some of them. Because that was kind of general. But like, for instance, I like Rio's album. I enjoyed it because even though it kind of some beats were similar, there were some that was different. When I listened to some Boyon music, I'm like, I don't think I can listen to this anymore because it's the same beat going and going and going, but somebody's just saying something different every time. But when I was listening to Rio, his album, it was really like different
Yeah,
beat.
it was. It was.
So I appreciated that. I feel like that type of I feel like keeping that same thing alive so that Dominica has its like hardcore. That's not the word I meant to use. What is the word? Um so that right.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that Dominica has like its core thing, but still being different in a way. No, I get that.
I
I
think
like this.
I think one of the main reasons is that especially the Booyah music, like we're not used to single artist Booyah. Like when I say we're not used to it, it's like I coming up as an artist and I make a Booyah song, like I don't really understand the actual true fundamentals. And yes, there are fundamentals because before it was like CK was like a group. You get what I'm saying? Like we'd have a drummer. Right now we're just making beats on Fruity Loops or whatever, and it's like sometimes you just looping the same beat every time and throwing some samples on it. But it's like before it was like an organized band. Right now artists don't do bands. Like they just stand up for themselves, they get a rhythm, and they just drop on it with their raw self. But I just feel like if like when there are music that was like fundamentally made, like everything was like cooperated in a certain way, it makes it sound much original. You get what I'm saying? Like you hear something like balance party, like
Right.
it had like something behind it. I'm not saying that we have to go back and say balance party, no, but I'm saying like let's just say for example, real song. I can never love again. Like basically, like that was a good song. But just imagine if there was a band behind that song. Imagine the like for example, he would have like backups again behind him. You would have like maybe like somebody hitting like a cymbal or some shit. Like sometimes the live instruments just even bring out the stuff. Like I'm not talking about live instrumentals, but I'm saying like using the actual instruments recording for the beat. It does bring out the beat when you put that out and it punches. You get what I'm saying? And I just feel like that is what we're lacking. Basically, is the band is this? I guess I wouldn't say it's a selfish attitude because a lot of people they get bad experiences with bands in the past because a lot of bands break up. But I just feel like it's the fact about starting to work by ourselves. Like look at Bob Marley and stuff like that. Bob Marley singing reggae was like with a band, with a group, and then there were people that came up after and they sing reggae on their own as a single self. But it's like it wasn't easy to come out as your single self because it was all about bands and you have to put about fundamentals. You have to make sure that's sounding good. You have backup singers. Maybe a certain part in this song you might want a female voice. A certain part in this song you might want a man voice. Just the mixture of all these different things could bring out such a different impact than you singing on a song by yourself and you have to sing both the ad libs and the backups. It not just exhausts you, but it's like it's more electronic work for when the actual producers start to mix it and thing it. It's electronic work because it's like they have to like do some stuff with your voice. It's not going to sound like actual thing than if they actually get somebody, they just maybe add some reverb or whatever to that person's voice and makes it, sound like something, Get what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to play devil's advocate because you're like super for the band thing, I think it's a different time now. So bands definitely were a thing. And I feel like live music and live bands on a song will always be a thing. But I think that now with artists having so much technology, that's the purpose. And I don't know if I feel like the end of the like so many artists are better off doing things on their own in a way, which and it works for them. I think that with like you're saying like if Rio had like a band on that song or whatever the case may be,
it,
it
it,
would have been better.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a band though, like per se. Like don't take my band for an actual band. It could
Yeah,
just
I'm,
it could just be something like an organized group, you understand? So it's like it has certain like textures and stuff you can put in a song, because at the end of the day it's art, you know what I'm saying? Like I can attest that I myself, like maybe in my own music, I do the same thing, you know, like I'm contradicting myself. But at the end of the day, it's like it I just know it would bring out an originality. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about artists that are right now in Dominica making music and they want to like stand out. Like they need to add a little extra. If you keep sounding like everybody else, you're not gonna really stand out unless like maybe something in your song catchy and it catch some people ears, but it's like other than that, it doesn't really stand out. It doesn't really make people know, hey, are you from Dominica? It doesn't make people know like, hey, this is that and hey, this is this. You get what I'm saying? Like all those like songs, bro, like there are so many things we can use. There are like certain like female voices, there are certain Creole slangs you can just throw in there. Like it doesn't even have to do with anything, you know, but it just like somebody come in and say certain things on a song while you hear it's like an organized group, it just makes such of a bigger difference. Like so that's why I just feel like that's why a lot of the artists, like when they blow up, you will notice that when you listen to their music, like you hear all the voices behind, especially like Kanye West and all this type of people. It's like you could hear it's not them alone on the song, but it's their song. You get what I'm saying? It's not them alone, but it's their song and it has culture behind it. If a Chicago rapper sing, you're gonna get his culture. If a New York rapper sing, you're gonna get his culture. But Dominican rapper sing, we're not getting our culture. The only thing we're getting is what we do on the song. The only thing we're getting is our preference, our enjoyment, what we like to do, things we do during the jam. But there is no culture behind it. There is nothing saying like this is something different. It's just saying like it's a beat, I'm singing on it, and it's either you like it or you don't.
I don't know. I don't know if I completely agree with that because
You're free to
the
disagree.
the like I think that you were saying like it's about the culture and you made a couple of different points, but I think that there's definitely culture behind it because no matter how much you try, I feel like as a Dominican artist, no matter how much you try to sweeten up your accent or do whatever it up, spice it up in the studio, it's going to be there. So I mean, and then you're saying like you use Kanye West as an example. These a lot of these artists, especially now, even like of course back in the day they had more teams of people, but now coming up a lot of people are finding that they work better alone or with like the team of people who work with the soundboards and stuff in the studio, which is fine. And there's so many different ways to edit like your own voice. I For instance, I don't know if you know Chloe Bailey. You know Chloe
Yeah,
Bailey, right?
of course.
Yeah. She-
I've done a reaction to a treat me. Yeah, I did.
um,
Yeah.
and so I watch her Instagram sometimes. She's like super overly sexual in my opinion, but it's fine.
She is, but I think she's signed on the Beyonce.
Yeah, but she does like she's a dope artist. She's super creative and
Yeah.
she does her own beats and stuff and she'll do her own ad libs. And there's ways that you can do your ad lib and make it high, like you can make it high pitch, low pitch, you can alter it and you can make it sound like you have a bunch of other voices on the beat when it was really just you and you just worked over it. So I feel like the idea of having so many people now is kind of unnecessary because you don't really need it for your music to sound a certain way or to make it seem like you have a team of people behind you unless you're going for that unison choir type vibe. But if if you're saying culture and originality, I think that the Dominican artists have that. I think it's more so about like the contents of what they put out and the beat and the team of people working to make their music sound away. I don't think that it's because I don't know. The way that you kind of explained it was like, okay, not a band for real, but like a group of people. And they already have a group of people. It's the people that are helping. But I don't know. I think I disagree with it only because I think that the originality is there. Like if you're from Dominica and you're rapping on a beat, especially if you try to switch it up and sound like an American or sound like you're from another place, people are going to notice that and they're either going to think you sound ridiculous or they're going to be like, okay, I can vibe with that. But I don't know. I think the whole like team of people, like with ad libs and all that stuff, I feel like that's kind of unnecessary in the way the world is now when you have so much technology. That's the purpose. Like people use it to their advantage to make it seem like they have all these people in the studio when it was really just them. It might be more work, but it works nonetheless.